Listen, honey child, I know that it's hard to find somebody to talk to when you're going through. I know it's hard to find somebody to listen without judgment. And sometimes when you're in a dark place, you need sound spiritual advice to help you on your journey. My name is Cherie Stern, and I'm qualified because I care. Good evening. Well, I came back because, I'm used to going live this way. I haven't even did this on the phone, but I wanted to do it because, and to really be able to get into what I'm trying to accomplish here, and so now we're talking about mental health. And actually, I wanted to introduce you guys to these new cards that I got. They are Bible cards, okay? And the one that I pulled, and energy don't lie, I don't care how you slice it. Romans 15 and 1. And it says, when them that are strong, we then that are strong ought to bear the infirmities of the weak and not to please ourselves. We then that are strong ought to bear the infirmities of the weak. We are talking about mental illness. We then that are strong, those of us who are strong minded, those of us who are in our right minds, those of us who are able to think and to make sound judgment and sound decisions and good choices, we then that are strong ought to bear the infirmities of the weak and not please ourselves. You don't kick people when they're down. When you come across someone with a mental illness, it is not a laughing matter. It's not funny. Now I grew up in my middle years in Tyler, and we had a man that used to walk around on the streets. His name was Columbus. If anybody from Tyler is watching, then you know who I'm talking about. And it was obvious that he had a mental illness. He was clearly on medication or should have been, and he very often disappeared to go to the local, as close as possible, mental ward. Mental illness is not a laughing matter. It's easy to kick someone while they're down. It's easy to look at a person who might not be as mentally strong and challenge them to suck it up, challenge them to deal with it. Everybody can't deal with their mental issues. Everybody can't deal with the normal problems of life. Everybody doesn't have the capacity. I think about that man in the Bible, the maniac of the Gadarenes. He is a classic case of mental illness. Okay. I have to find a teachable moment in this. And the maniac of Gadara, that's what it was called. The maniac. It's in both Matthew, Luke, and John. No, Matthew, Mark, and Luke. I'm just going to go with the one in Mark 5:120 because that's the one that came up. Jesus came to the country of the Gadarenes. And when he was come out of the ship, immediately there met him out of the tombs a man with an unclean spirit who had his dwelling among the tombs. Have you ever met someone that chooses to dwell where dead things and dark things are? This man had his dwelling among the tombs, and no man could bind him, no, not with chains, because that he had been often bound, often bound. Mental illness is a, a state of being bound. He was often bound with fetters and chains, and the chains had been plucked asunder. He broke the chains, okay? And the fetters broken in pieces, neither could any man tame him. And always, night and day, he was in the mountains and in the tombs, crying and cutting himself with stones. Does anybody know anybody that cuts themselves? Does anybody know anyone that has that mental illness of self harm? Self harm, cutting, and really, any addiction, anything like all of that is self harm. And that's what this man was doing. He was cutting himself with stones. But when he saw Jesus afar off, he ran and worshiped him. That's anything, that's the that's the thing about it, is that when you are in the presence of the Lord, even your mental illness cannot stop you from worshiping. In the presence of the Lord, in the presence of the Holy Spirit. So it is the presence of the Holy Spirit that will cause these mental illnesses. And I'm not saying don't take your medication. I'm not saying don't go to your therapist. All of that is necessary. Whatever substance it is that sometimes you need that. Sometimes you need whatever it is to quiet those voices. I know people who hear voices. I know people who see in the spirit realm. This is spiritual warfare. It is. It's spiritual warfare, and it manifests itself in the flesh. And so you have to attack it from uh, both places. But this man cried with a loud voice and said, "What have I to do with thee, Jesus, thou Son of the Most High God? I adjure thee by God that thou torment me not." For he said unto him, "Come out of that man, thou unclean spirit." And he asked him, "What is thy name?" And he said, "My name is Legion, for we are many." That's right. Mental illness, it is not just the presence of one dark, evil spirit, it can be the presence of many. And when I say that, I'm not trying to get all weird on you, because people have many issues that they're dealing with. There is a spirit of depression, there is depression, there's that anxiety, the spirit of self harm, OCD. There's many different things that people deal with. I'm trying to bring what's in the Bible into present day so you can understand and be able to mix that up and see the, the correlation of the two. There's many things. How many of y'all, if there's anybody that's watching that, that ever took a took a pill for mental health, how many did you have to take? You had to take. I know when I took them, I took one for everything. I took one for anxiety, one for depression, and another one for my nerves that also had an antidepressant in it. Okay. So there's one to bring you up, there's something to bring you down. There's something to take you to the left, and something else to take you to the right, and something else to get you back to the center. That's throwing you know, proposed solutions at the problem, but the real problem there is those those many unclean spirits, and it happens to all of us. There's a point where we learn coping skills, hopefully, where we get some therapy, where we do some meditation and some praying, where we get some advice, some good advice, other than our own. Because, you have to be able to listen to a voice of reason, especially when your voice of reason might not speak so loud above the other voices in your head. One thing that even a foul spirit or a mental illness cannot deny is the light of the truth. And as we learn coping skills, as we learn to not be moved, because that's one thing that brings mental illness to the surface usually is an encounter with another person. And with another person, you don't know if they got a mental illness too. So no fight in the hood like the two crazy people that get into it, right? Oh, that's the fight of, yeah. But that's just those mocking spirits. They're mocking spirits, okay? They mock us and make a fool out of us. That's where the spiritual world translates over into the natural, okay? Write it down, tell a friend. Those are mocking spirits. Those spirits are having fun by making us act crazy with each other. And it's serious because the young man just killed his grandmother and a teacher and 14 students in Uvalde, Texas. So it's not a laughing matter. Where was the disconnect? Who missed it? Who missed it? The grocery store, who missed it? But you have to look at it like it sure enough is. Because unfortunately, it happens every day. I talk to people every day that are on the brink of some personal disaster. And it's our job to empathize with them, to encourage them and empower them enough to make the next step into therapy. Everybody needs somebody to talk to, that they're going to not feel like they're gonna spread all their business and tell everything that that they told. Everybody needs somebody like that. Everybody needs somebody to trust, because when people have to deal with those mental illnesses and those fears and self-doubt, and they have to feel like they have to they feel like they're alone and like nobody understands. When a person that has mental health issues, or don't I know it's hard. One thing with, even with my agents, with my reps, I know it's hard to deal with another person's pain. It's hard to deal with another person's pain. You have to deal with your own pain. Another person's pain is uncomfortable at best. You be wanting to tell them, look, I got my own problems. Go work that out somewhere else. But with the card today, the Bible card from Romans 15:1, that says, we that are strong ought to bear the infirmities of the weak. You have to, as you build yourself up, you have to be willing to build up the next person. You have to be, we really have need to rely on each other. It's not that one person is stronger than the other, because everybody has a different breaking point. Everybody doesn't, what breaks one person won't even leave a scar on another one. And so we all don't break at the same point, but we all have a breaking point. And it's in those breaking points that you need somebody that's going to stand in the gap, that's going to make up the hedge. When I'm strong, I got to bear the infirmities of the weak. And I'm hoping that when I'm weak, there will be somebody strong to bear me up, you know, to tell me that it's going to be okay. And I have had that, and I thank God I've had that. I hope my sister is watching tonight. Have had to come over and lift me up off the ground and pour into me, and pray for me. That's what people need. Just one person to tell you it's going, because you can have some, I saw Shamo's live today. You can't, you're not, the strong sometimes need help. The strong need help too. We all can be bound in our minds. Overthinking is a mental health issue. Obsessive thoughts. Trying to sit up and figure out what somebody else think is a mental problem. How you gonna get over your mental problem while you trying to think about somebody else's thought that got a mental problem? That's like you inviting crazy. You can preserve your energy from other people and still be of help, and be a resource. I know a lot of us, and me being a person that works in the mental health field, and I counsel pastoral care, people that have spiritual issues, real spiritual issues, real spiritual warfare. People that have ended up in the hospital because they're running from the voices in their head, not knowing that them voices can't hurt them. They just have to learn coping skills. They just have to learn meditation. They just have to learn prayer. You're going to have spirits around you. If you're a spiritual person, you're going to have spirits around you, but you are protected. You're protected. Nothing can come near you and hurt you. And that's what they don't understand. And so that's where the spiritual mentoring part comes in. So that I can try to help people believe in their divine protection. But those things can manifest themselves into a mental illness if you do not get it under control. And the people of God, I don't people of God have mental issues. People of God. Because we actually believe in the spiritual realm. We actually believe that there are angels. We actually believe that there are demons and foul spirits. We actually believe it. In the Social Security Administration book of disabilities, there is a place for religiosity. And that is for people who are overly religious. So there are several of us that can fall into that category. And so the prayer and the meditation that we do, we must believe in the higher light. We have to, because if you don't, then what? Then you're going to be constantly under spiritual attack, constantly dealing with your demons and the voices in your head and the depression and the anxiety and the paranoia, thinking everybody talking about you. What they might be. But what you gonna do about it? It's not anything you can do about it. But protect yourself. And the way to protect yourself is to train your mind. In the Bible, it says that we have to bring every thought captive. Okay? Every thought. Can you imagine all day long doing nothing but capturing thoughts? Bad thoughts, negative thoughts, thoughts that will put you in a crazy state of mind. I just don't know what else to call it. I don't know what else to call it. Capture every thought and bring it into subjection. Because if you let your mind wander, you're going to think up a whole bunch of stuff for yourself. Some of it may be true, some of it may not be true. We all have discernment and intuition. Yeah, you can tell how somebody feel about you by the way they act and by the way they interact with you, but what can you do about it? Are you going to be all up in your head because somebody has revealed that they don't like you? Are you going to let that drive you? I've let somebody drive me into a situation where I was under doctor's mental health care. So I know it can happen. Don't tell me it can't happen because I know. I have allowed someone to play with my head. And it really just a person no different from yourself. They've learned how to manipulate. That spirit of manipulation, control, bullying, taking somebody that they feel like is less than them, putting their foot on their neck, the oppressor, the oppressiveness, that's a spirit too. That spirit of oppression. That spirit of having arguments. You want to know why so many arguments going down, why so much mess is going on in and around the community, in and around the world? That's that Leviathan spirit. It will have people arguing with each other, people not agreeing. It's in the Bible. Jesus said it. Mothers against daughters, fathers against sons. That is that spirit. I mean, if that ain't what's really happening in the world, then tell me. I'm just telling you the truth. That serpent spirit. That spirit of suicide that will have you take your own life. That will make you believe that your own life is so worthless that you just take yourself out. Or somebody else. Graveyards and jails are full. Today, more graves are going to be filled. Children. People need help. Share your peace. Don't hold your peace. Share your peace. If you're a person that has a peaceful life, share your peace. Don't hoard it. I know y'all want everybody out here, I want to protect my peace. I've been there too. I want to protect my peace too. I do. But when I say share your peace, I mean put, as you put on that whole armor of God, have your feet shod with the gospel of peace. Go in peace. The places that you visit, take a peaceful spirit. Don't take a spirit with you that wants to be so rah-rah and charge people up and because that's going to create a situation that's going to have your mental health hanging in the balance in somebody else's hands, no less. Protect your peace. It's not hard. As you find peace, if you are peaceful people, because what it's saying here is that we need to bear, those of us that are strong, those of us who have peace in our lives, those of us who exemplify peace. You have to spread peace. You have to go in peace. You have to let the world know what peace looks like. And it's okay. You still gonna have fun. You still gonna have fun without all the mess. You still gonna have fun without all the drama, without all of the chaos. Because the only thing that happens is when a whole bunch of folks get out here is that those demons, those foul spirits, they get out there and they start running amok, start killing their people, killing grandmothers and children, innocent people in shopping centers. Go in peace.